Welcome back to Flip That Script. I'm Dana,
And I'm Holly.
and today we're talking about emotional alchemy, the art of turning triggers into teachers. We've all had those moments where we react bigger than the situation calls for. That flash of anger, jealousy, fear, or shame that feels like it comes out of nowhere. But in reality, it's not random at all. That's your subconscious speaking. Your emotional reactions are messages, not flaws. They're your mind's way of saying, hey, something here feels familiar. Something is unresolved, just got bumped. And instead of fighting those feelings or judging ourselves for having them, what if we started listening? That's where hypnotherapy comes in. Because hypnosis lets us go beneath the surface, past the story, past the defenses, into the part of the mind that actually creates those emotional reactions. And when we access that space, we can reframe the story, regulate the response, and rewrite the emotional memory that's been running the show. So today, we want to help you understand your emotions, not as enemies to control, but as teachers guiding you towards healing. Because you can't heal what you keep trying to banish.
Triggers aren't proof that you're weak. They're proof that your nervous system remembers something. They're like the echoes of survival, the whispers of the older you that says, pay attention, we've been here before. And right now, though, you're no longer who you were. And every time a trigger lights up the body, you have the choice react from the past or respond from power. I know when I first started working with hypnotherapy, I thought of the subconscious like this shy animal, right? Hiding in the
Mm-hmm.
woods, quiet, instinctive, protective. And the conscious mind is the person walking the path in the dark in the woods, flashlight in hand, trying to make sense of what's rustling in that dark. And a trigger happens when that flashlight catches the eyes of that animal. And suddenly the body remembers the fear. And we tense before we know why. But that animal isn't dangerous anymore. It's simply asking to be understood. And the problem is, though, our nervous system fires faster than a thought, like milliseconds before our logic can speak. Our amygdala sends that signal danger, and our heart rate spikes, and our breath shortens, and our muscles tighten, and the body believes it's defending you, not betraying you. And that's the biology, not the failure, or not that there's something wrong with you. And
Right.
that's why, yeah,
And most people, they try to manage their emotions at a more conscious level. They're like talking themselves down, breathing, counting to 10, but that emotion doesn't live there. It lives in our subconscious. It's where logic doesn't reach. And that's why you can't know you're safe and still feel terrified. Like you know that you're safe, but you still have that feeling of terror or jealousy or whatever it is. And you can know you're good enough and still feel like an imposter. The conscious
yes.
mind doesn't understand facts. The conscious mind understands facts. The
Yeah.
subconscious is still running that old story on
Mhm.
repeat.
Yeah, it's re-educating not only the subconscious, but the nervous system and showing
Mm-hmm.
how to tell the difference between then and now. I just worked with a client last night, and he is in sales, and he would get very anxious when another salesperson bumped up ahead of him, in the running for the daily bonus. And so I had done a session with him the week before, and he was giving me an update. And he said, the most powerful thing you said to me was, my coworkers are not enemies, they're competition. And so in that one sentence, I flipped that fight instinct that brought on the anxiety to, it's just competition. Your body doesn't have to react that way. And it's just looking at things, knowing that it's not an old scenario. He had had old scenarios that caused him to feel anxious whenever somebody stepped in front of him, stepped ahead of him. But that one line retrained that subconscious, and he noticed all week at work that he didn't have the anxiety. He didn't go into the panic of, that's my bonus. What if I don't have enough money? What if this doesn't work out? What if I can't do this or that or the other? Right? That fight instinct coming out and that anxiety coming up in the body. So it's literally just flipping those triggers around to know you don't need it. It's a moment from the past, not of the present.
Right. That's perfect. The perfect example. It's, where your subconscious connects the present to something unresolved in the past. It's not a random reaction, it's protective. It's your mind saying, last time this happened, it hurt. And I'm not letting that happen again.
Right. Right. It's not erasing the triggers. We just have to learn to interpret them. Kind of like determining the weather, right? If you step outside and it's stormy, put on your raincoat. Decide what you need. Do you need an umbrella? So when you feel that come through your body, what do you need? What is it telling you? I worked with another client on Sunday, and she's been using this technique that when anxiety comes up, she has random anxiety that just comes up, and she has learned to stop, take a deep breath, thank her body, and say, thank you. I hear you, but I'm okay. I'm safe. And that has extremely decreased her anxiety and panic attacks. As soon as she feels it, she thanks the body and she takes a breath and releases it. And they are coming less and less and less. There's so many ways that we can take those triggers and turn it around. I mean, triggers are real. We were in
Oh,
states
yeah.
of betrayal and rejection, and like you said, Dana, jealousy, just all kinds of things that can be triggered in us from some really tough situations. I mean, we could have been in an abusive relationship. We could have been a victim of child abuse or neglect. There's lots of serious things where triggers come up. And there's also, even within marriages, betrayal, cheating. So the least little thing triggers
Mm-hmm.
that fear. Is he cheating on me now? In
Right.
this relationship, and it's not even the same person, right? There's so many triggers that we have, and the nervous system alarms us, like you said, to protect us. It's not to cause us harm. The body is really where the emotions are stored, and it
Right.
warns us. It's a warning. But if we don't need that, you can turn it around.
Right. And I mean, what's really happening is in those moments, I think you've touched on this, is your amygdala is hijacking your prefrontal cortex. And what
Yeah.
that means is emotion is overriding logic. It's a survival response. It's not a choice. It's survival. The body doesn't know the difference between memory and moment. It just reacts. And that's why hypnotherapy is so powerful, because it helps the subconscious update that file, you know, rewrites it. We write it, we flip that script so that your body can stop reacting to old information.
Exactly. I mean, when you
Um,
begin thanking those triggers instead of fearing them, they soften and they become our teachers. And isn't that what evolution is? You know,
right.
learning new lessons.
And so because we're calling them teachers, that's to say that we're not going to ignore our triggers. We're going to learn from them. Instead of react to them, we're going to learn from them. So if you have had situations in the past and this recurrence keeps happening and then it happens again in another relationship, don't just automatically react. Just learn from that trigger and then just open your eyes a little more, because maybe what they're doing is hiding a birthday surprise, or something harmless where you can overreact and think, oh, they're cheating. because they're hiding something. They won't let me, I haven't, they're hiding their phone, they're deleting messages or something, but really it's, hey, we're having this party on da da da.
Yeah.
It's a surprise. Don't let Holly know.
Right. Right.
It could
Right.
be something innocent. Just keep
It
your
could.
eyes open. That's all. Learn from it.
I mean, and let's travel a little deeper even beneath the science into myth. Every sacred story, there's a descent.
Hmm.
Persephone into the underworld, Inanna through the seven gates, even the phoenix into the flame, right? A
Right.
trigger is the start of a descent, and it pulls you down, yes, but not to punish you. It calls you into remembrance.
Hmm.
So while we need to remember our descent, we need to remember those things that we've been through, but we don't have to allow the nervous system to think that that means danger. We can
Right.
retrain the nervous system to understand that we are safe from that situation now. We don't remain in the underworld. We don't get stuck in the seven gates. We don't continue to burn as the phoenix, right? We come out of that and we learn from that.
Right. And because emotions are not obstacles, they're indicators. And
Yes,
they point to what still needs safety, attention, or closure. And when we stop seeing our emotions as enemies, then we
yes,
can realize they're actually maps back to ourselves.
exactly. Exactly. And I think this is where sovereignty begins as well. Not when life stops triggering you, but when nothing can pull you off your throne for long. Power, isn't the absence of pain, it's the presence of awareness. And it's knowing that the wave may crash, but you're the ocean. And, our mind loves control and it wants to catalog and categorize and contain. But healing is wild, right? It doesn't
Hmm.
arrive in a neat little package. It blooms through chaos, which is our nervous system. And that's why triggers feel messy. They're the compost of transformation.
Right? Every emotion is a doorway.
Yeah, I like that.
And instead of circling that doorway, hypnotherapy helps you go through it.
Yes. Yes. So many people, I think Dana and I help in this area because what human does not have a trigger? A lot of us like to think that we don't. How do you react when somebody cuts you off in traffic on the interstate? What's really going on
Right.
there? What's your nervous system doing? You might not consider that a trigger, but it's a trigger, right? It's how our body is reacting in defensiveness and protectiveness. So, how do we turn these triggers around? I mean, we need to remember that emotion is just energy in motion.
In motion.
Yes, whether it's anger, fear, sadness, let them move, breathe them, dance with them, write them, speak them. Movement metabolizes memory, stillness stores it. There
Yeah.
is a beauty in allowing the emotion to come out, whatever that looks like for you. And moving our bodies is one way to let that emotion out. And a second, of course, is reframing what does power mean to you? Power isn't dominance, it's direction. It's the ability to guide our own energy with intention instead of reaction. So if you think of every trigger as raw power before transformation, then you can translate it consciously and turn it into creation, creating the new way that you want to react.
Right. And the in hypnotherapy, we access that part of the mind that creates the emotional response in the first place. So that's the part that reacts before you can think. It's what kept our ancestors alive for forever. And so when you're in that relaxed, focused state of hypnosis, your brain waves slow down and we can communicate directly with the subconscious. That's where the emotional memory lives. So,
Yeah.
once the client's in that state, we don't erase emotions. We only update them. We rewrite them. We flip the script. We find the original moment where that fear or shame got wired in, and we help the subconscious understand that danger is over. That
Yes.
that reframe becomes the new program then, so to say.
So I just want to tell you a little story.
Okay.
So there was a woman who thought that her anger was her enemy, and she spent years shoving it down, trying to silence it, meditated away, apologized it into submission, and one night, after yet another betrayal, she screamed into a pillow until her throat burned. And in that scream, she heard her own voice for the first time in years. And the sound wasn't rage, it was resurrection. And that's what happens when you let energy move. It transforms into truth.
Mm-hmm.
And after just that one night, she stopped apologizing for her fire. She learned to cook with it instead of burn the house down. She became a woman who could stand, in the heat and not melt. And every time life tried to trigger her, she smiled and said, "Thank you for reminding me that I still have flames." That woman, whether you're a man or a woman, lives in each of us. And this is a big part. I wasn't telling this story to talk about the retreat, but this is a big part of what Dana and I plan to do at the retreat is release.
Absolutely.
Release and transform energy that is stuck within us. From sometimes we don't even realize we have trauma. We think the
Right.
things we went through was just growing up. It was just life. It was just how it was.
And
Previous
that's how things,
relationship was just
that's,
life.
yep.
And that's just how it is. And we've shoved it down and we've shoved it down, but we don't know why we're not as happy as we want to be, why we feel like we're lost in life. And it's that stagnant energy. And that's going to be a big part of our She Reigns Now Rise retreat coming up in March is releasing the stuck energy within ourselves that triggers us to further hold that energy in. And
Mm-hmm.
we need to let that energy out.
Right. I mean, traditional talk therapy works beautifully for insight and awareness, but awareness doesn't always equal change. The subconscious, the subconscious doesn't speak English. It speaks an emotion, imagery, association. This is hypnotherapy.
Right.
That's where that comes in. You can rationalize your way out of an emotional imprint, but you can rewrite it from the inside out.
Exactly. I mean, when the body flares, most people run from the heat, right? They
Mm-hmm.
argue, withdraw, scroll, doom scroll, shop, post, anything to escape that burn. But power isn't found in escape, it's found in precision. And if you think of the mind as a forge, I love fire, can you tell?
Yes.
You are the blacksmith, right? And your hammer is the attention, the anvil is your breath. So when anger rises, you don't smash blindly. You listen for rhythm. You shape the red hot metal into something useful, a boundary, a truth, a declaration of worth. And hypnotherapy trains that precision. It teaches you to slip under the surface of reaction and speak directly to the subconscious craftsman inside of you. When we take you under, when this sensation appears, it will now remind you to breathe, to anchor, to remember who you are. Each time you repeat that instruction, neurons in your brain literally realign, and you're rewriting a reflex into a new pattern.
Right. And when the emotional charge gets released, it's like the body just finally exhales. You'll feel that
Yeah.
weight lifted. Clients describe it as relief, lightness, even a quiet clarity that wasn't there before. And
Right.
it's because the subconscious understands that you're safe now and it stops sounding the alarm.
Yes. I know we're talking a lot about the clients we work with today, but I think we can all relate to different stories. And I once worked with a woman who said that her partner's silence triggered her, that it caused her to spiral into a panic. And we did a session and we traced that silence back to her childhood home, where silence meant punishment,
Mm-hmm.
exclusion, being unseen. So in her adult life, she had married her own echo. And we didn't erase the memory. We literally flipped that script and the meaning for it so that silence no longer equaled rejection. And that's what you have to do. Sometimes we don't even realize where it's coming from
Right.
because sometimes it can come from deep places.
And when you work at the level where the emotion originated, the change doesn't have to be forced because it's natural. And that's why hypnotherapy isn't just powerful, it's permanent. It
Yes.
sets the seed, and every emotional trigger has a root. You can clip those branches with any coping skills all day, but if you go straight to the root and replant it in healthier soil, that's what hypnosis does.
Yes. Yes. And if we think about it, energy itself is neutral. It's our meaning that we put to that energy that makes it dark or light or painful or
Mm-hmm.
joyful. So, how we reframe and flip that script on what the body feels when we're triggered, it becomes your new programming, your new loop in your subconscious, your new pattern. It literally breaks the old pattern and rewrites a new one for you. And again, not forgetting anything. It's not a memory loss. It's just a new way that you look at that, completely remembering what it was, but now you don't have to feel the negativity from it. You've already lived that. And it's not meant for you to live that for the rest of your life. It's meant for you to learn from it, take the lesson, thank the body, thank the mind, thank the subconscious for showing you the lesson and protecting you when you needed that protection. And now it's time to release it and form your new pattern.
Right. It's not about changing who you are. It's really more about finally understanding why you react the way you do so that the reaction doesn't own you anymore. When
Yes.
you allow that emotion to make you react in a way that you don't want to react like that, then it owns you. And so we're just taking back our power.
Yeah.
Taking back our power and saying, you know what? I'm not going to be shameful that I took a nap today.
Yes.
I'm not going to get tight chest and feel like, I'm glad I woke up in time before whoever got home and noticed that I took a nap and now I have to hurry up and do all this stuff. Nope, I took a nap and that stuff didn't get done.
Right. And it'll get done when it gets done. I mean, this is the heart of empowered living. Nothing wasted, not a moment. A nap is important. Every surge, every sting, every echo becomes raw material for sovereignty. And that's what makes the healed woman, the healed man, the healed being so magnetic. Nothing can be weaponized against them anymore. And they've learned to recycle pain into presence and power. And that makes for a person that is magnetic. People are drawn to them. What's so different about you? Because they're not walking around in their own pain, they're walking around in their own power.
Right. So, if today's conversation hit something real for you, if you felt that moment of recognition where you thought, oh, wow, that's me, then take it as your sign that the subconscious is ready.
Exactly, because awareness is the first step, but transformation happens when you give yourself time and the space to go deeper.
And that's why we created our Flip That Script morning meditations. Every morning we meet live with our Flip Fam. It's totally free to help you start your day calm, grounded, and confident. We do breath work, priming, and quick subconscious resets that get your mind working for you instead of against you.
And if you've been craving something more immersive, that deep cinematic healing experience, join us one night a week when we do our hypnotic imagery journeys. These aren't meditations, they're hypnotic journeys. They're guided subconscious adventures that take you right into the imagery of transformation, where you can release, rewrite, and rise. Check out the website for more details.
And for the women who are ready to step all the way into their power, we're hosting our She Reigns Now retreat. The first in our 3-part series, Rise, is about transformation, that phoenix moment where you remember who you really are. It's an entire weekend of breakthroughs, embodiment, and unapologetic self worth.
So, whether it's a morning meditation, the evening hypnotic imagery journey, or a full retreat, we've got a place for you to breathe, release, and rise with us.
Because the story you tell yourself matters, and it's never too late to rewrite it.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, Flip Fam.